Hey everyone, this is Adam Elenbaas from Nightlight Astrology. Today we are going to take a look at Mercury turning retrograde in the sign of Sagittarius, which is happening early next week. We're going to prepare for it today because Mercury is slowing down to station over the weekend, and we're going to look at all 12 whole sign house horoscopes. So you can listen to these for your sun or your rising sign. And these are going to be just brief, little targeted interpretations of the placement of Mercury retrograde by house in your birth chart. So that is our agenda for today. Remember, before we get into it, to like and subscribe. It really helps our channel to grow and to build our business and community. We rely on people to give us that little click of the like button and subscribe. You can also turn on notifications if you want to know when our latest videos have dropped. So thank you for doing that. You can find transcripts of any of these daily talks on my website, which is nightlightastrology.com. As you know, we are in the first week of our annual Kickstarter campaign. Our goal this year is to try and raise the support of 1,937 backers from the channel by January 1st. We're off to a good start this week. I'm going to take you over to the Kickstarter page really quick. You can find the link to the Kickstarter in the comments section, in the description of the video, and on the website, nightlightastrology.com. There's a tab that says 2025 Kickstarter. When you go there, you're going to click on Back This Project. And then when you scroll down, you're going to find a variety of rewards that we give when you donate. So a lot of really good opportunities. At the end of today's video, I have a breakdown of all of the rewards and kind of what they entail. So if you have questions or are curious to know more about your options when you donate, we have tons of classes that are available. All of our training programs are over 50% off. They go up even more when the discounts go up even more when you bundle them together. So you pick up a few of our programs. We have 4 years worth of curriculum, masterclass series, Roots and Spheres, Moon Circle, all sorts of really good rewards that we offer when you support the channel. Readings, your horoscope for the year ahead, as well as the major astrological transits of the year ahead. Tons of good stuff there to say thank you when you support the channel. We really appreciate it. And again, like I said, at the end of today's video, if you stick around, there's a little attached video that explains the different rewards you can get when you donate to support us. This is like our biggest sale of the year, in a sense, that we use as a way of promoting and supporting the Kickstarter and our channel. So be sure to check that out. Now, every day during the Kickstarter, I like to say just a little something about why I think that the channel is worth supporting. And so today, I've been talking this week about what goes into the content every day. I've talked about prayer and research and the immersion into an astrological lifestyle that you know is a part of my life that goes into the content you're consuming every day. There's another factor that I include, and if you watch my channel, you're familiar with it, and that is storytelling. I am very deliberate in every day before I sit down and I write out my talk for the day. Sometimes stories come to me just spur of the moment, like off the top of my head, but a lot of the times the stories that you're hearing, the little anecdotes, the little shares from maybe something that's going on in my life or someone that I know or something that I've seen, those stories are crafted most of the time in advance. I take a lot of care and a lot of time in preparing stories that I feel will be relatable for all of you. And over the years, I think that's become one of the most important and special parts of this channel. You know, when you tune in, you're going to get something personal. You're going to get storytelling. You're going to get things that are personally relatable. So there's a lot of care and heart and personal storytelling sort of woven into the way that I present the astrology. And for those of you who find that comforting and relatable, I think that's something of great value in this work and something that I believe makes the channel worth supporting if you're someone who tunes in regularly and enjoys it. A lot of care goes into that process. So anyway, thank you so much to everyone who's already donated. If you haven't yet, please consider supporting our channel in the year ahead. Let's see if we can get to our goal this year. And yeah, on that note, let's turn our attention now to the real-time clock where we can focus on Mercury's upcoming retrograde. So here we have Mercury stationing over the weekend. This is Monday, November 25th. But what I want to focus on is the fact that you see this little S under Mercury. So Mercury is going to be stationed by Monday. Okay, so that means that station point is a big deal for Mercury. Often some of the things that we think of as most Mercury retrograde are actually not happening during the retrograde, but during the station. That is because when Mercury stops moving, so do lines at the airport, so does the schedule and flow of your day. It just stops and there's a delay, or there's a setback, or there's a reroute, or there's a feeling of frustration. I want this to happen, but it's not happening the way I want it to happen. A lot of those kind of classic Mercury retrograde signatures or symbolism comes during the station to turn retrograde because Mercury isn't moving. So we associate that lack of movement with things that get stuck or things that, seem to break down in terms of the normal flow. Anyway, so you may be noticing over the weekend, as Mercury is slowing down and almost not moving at all now, that this is already starting to happen. The retrograde is, in a sense, something that we start feeling it and noticing it usually during the station. That's this weekend. That's what we're looking at this today. Now, if we turn this to Tuesday into Wednesday, that's when Mercury actually starts moving in retrograde motion. And then if we map this out, this retrograde of Mercury will take us all the way until the station about December 14th. And then got about 3 weeks. And then it stations and turns direct by about the 16th. And then it will move forward back through all of the degrees of the retrograde, kind of revising everything. And that forward motion will take it through the end of the year, finally leaving Sagittarius by around January 7th into the 8th. So a nice long stay for Mercury in the sign of Sagittarius. This is a place that Mercury is traditionally considered to be in its detriment or exile. That does not mean anything, we don't look at that and go, oh, that's so bad. What we do is we look at that and we say, yeah, that means that there is a kind of archetypal tension that exists between Mercury and Jupiter that Mercury will be working through, creatively working with during this period of time. If we understand the tension between Mercury and Jupiter, then we can understand this place as a place of tension or a little bit of a conflict for Mercury. Now, remember, Mercury is opposite to Jupiter the whole time, while Jupiter's in its detriment in Mercury's sign. So the two planets really are working something out by mutual reception and opposition throughout this entire retrograde. I could put that in and talk about that more, but I want to just focus today on the house of Mercury's retrograde for each of us. And so in order to do that, we're going to just take the horoscopes through Aries through Pisces. You know what? Let's start with Pisces today. I feel like I owe Pisces after telling everybody that we would do a Pisces horoscope and then forgetting to start with Pisces in our monthly overview. So I feel like I have a karmic debt to Pisceans out there. We're going to start with Pisces and roll backward through the zodiac today. That'll be fun. Okay. So what we're going to do now is talk about some of the significations that might come up given the house placement that you're finding this in your birth chart. You will have the exact transit location of Mercury's retrograde in your birth chart if you listen for your rising sign, because through the whole sign houses that ancient astrologers used, your rising sign will correspond with the way that horoscopes are read. Horoscopes are always read by putting the sign you're reading for on the whole sign first house. So if you're reading for Aries sun, you put Aries, whole sign Aries in the first house. That's why we say listen to your rising sign, because unless your sun is in the first house, the house locations will not be accurate to the locations of your birth chart unless you're listening for your rising or unless your sun is actually in the first whole sign house of your chart. So anyway, I have to say that every month because people ask every single month, and I think it bears repeating. Listen for your rising sign if you want the transit location in your whole sign house chart. So anyway, but again, let's just whatever makes sense to you is obviously fine. So on that note, we'll start with Pisces. We'll go backward through the zodiac this time for fun. And you'll see the little chapters are listed. So if you want to jump around, obviously you can. But remember that retrogrades give an opportunity for reworking, reflection, revision, change of circumstance, a change of direction, a delay or a setback, but then a reworking. Those are the kinds of themes that everyone is dealing with. And then now let's look at the topics. So if you're a Pisces rising, and again, these are going to be sort of just brief reminders of the house topics. This is your career house. We're talking about the way you interact with the world that you live in, the society or the social or civic hemisphere of life, your reputation and standing, your craft skills, abilities, the contribution you make, your vocation, your notoriety. That word reputation is a big one for the 10th house. So for Pisces, we're talking about shifts within the workplace, shifts within how you do work or what you're doing for work, or the people or environment that you work in. And we're talking about a period of change, reflection, or revision, a change of breakdowns and delays with respect to that vocational house. So watch for a shift of perspective or circumstance in the career house during this retrogradation if you are a Pisces. All right, going backward in order of signs, Aquarius in the first house gives us Mercury in the 11th house. So the 11th house being the place of groups, allies, friends, organizations, communities. We're looking at a process of change, revision, or reflection within groups like that. Now, given the tension of Mercury in a Jupiter-ruled sign, we could be looking at things like the reordering or revising of philosophies, beliefs, or thoughts and ideas or opinions, disagreements and clashes of idea, approach, or strategy. We're looking at like ideological tensions within groups or communities, or communication dynamics within groups or within friendship circles. For Aquarians, there is something here within groups or communities, within your colleagues or professional circles, that is going through a period of revision, setback, reflection, a change of direction or priority. So watch for those things in that house of groups, communities, allies, and so forth. All right. With Capricorn rising, we're looking at Mercury in the 12th house. This is a place that can be quite unconscious, and it's a place that we don't always see or understand. Watch for synchronicities, messages, or kind of secretive or hidden dynamics, things that come up in dreams, maybe the ability to see through the veil in altered or different states of consciousness in order to see or understand things that have been hidden from view. I like this as a period of time in which Capricorns can become more aware of things that maybe are not as easy to see or understand, whether that's at work or in relationships or within yourself. Look for those hidden dynamics to become more conscious. And also, I would think about, how can I put this? Like an examination of the people in your life that are their ideas, their thoughts, their communication is positive and healthy versus those whose influence is not. And then I would also look at the unconscious influence of, or like, what are your most unconsciously held beliefs, and becoming perhaps more aware of them during this time, and sort of being able to evaluate and say, I guess deep down I'm sort of cynical, or I guess deep down I trust a little too much and need to be a little bit more practical, or, like whatever the case may be. Mercury retrograde in Sag in the 12th for you Capricorns is a great time to sort of look at and evaluate your beliefs and ideas and how they are subtly influencing you, just kind of becoming more aware of what they are. All right, well, we'll put Sagittarius on the ascendant next. And here we have Mercury retrograde in your first house. This is a period of time in which you can go through a healthy examination of your own thoughts, behavior, attitudes, your own health and vitality, your own energy and how you manage it, things like self-care as well as self-concept. This is a good time to review or look carefully at communication dynamics in your life within yourself, how you communicate. Is there a more effective way to communicate? Is there a more direct way to communicate? Are your beliefs and ideals in alignment with the way you carry yourself and present yourself to the world? So it's a really nice time for a very personal level of reflection on what is or isn't working within yourself, whether that's, again, something that's very physical and like related to your health and vitality, or that's psychological, communicative, or even intellectual or ideological. It's a good time for self-review right now for Sages. Going on, we'll go backward again, and Scorpio is our next sign. Scorpio rising places Mercury's retrograde into the second house, the place of assets, wealth, money. And so what's fascinating here is the idea that you could be revising your budget, or Maybe if you own your own business, you could be looking at what products you're going to continue selling and which new products you're going to put out and which old products you're going to remove from the shelves. The idea of a kind of temporary period of reflection or revision upon things like business, money, finances. Paying off debts is a good one with Mercury retrograde in the second house, or going back and looking over things and kind of carefully reviewing how you utilize or spend your money, looking at what kinds of assets you really need and which maybe you do not need. Also, I would think that there could be some interesting connection with the development or refinement of skills and abilities. The second house is not just what we have or are in possession of financially, it's also what we have or are in possession of in terms of skills and abilities. And so a Mercury retrograde in this house can be like kind of like an inventory moment, a personal inventory, a financial inventory. What skills or abilities do I want to refine or get better at? Which do I want to use? Which am I tired of using? Which am I done with? So that kind of reflection around what you have, what you're developing, what you're building, what you need or want to have, good time for that with Mercury's retrograde in your second. Let's go forward to Libra rising, backward, I should say. And here we go. So Mercury's retrograding in your third house. And this is a place that reflects the mood and environment and circumstances around you. Think 1,000 years ago, the third house is the village you live in. It's the neighborhood that you live in. Well, today, that's a little abstract for us. Most of us don't identify so much with our neighborhood as much as we may think of our neighborhood as the places we frequent online, right? So when Mercury turns retrograde in this house, there's an opportunity to reflect upon or to shift our cultural orientation or to move things around in terms of the daily psychic environment that we have, that we inhabit, and what features of that environment are really good or healthy for us versus which are perhaps, toxic or negative or influence us in a way that's like stresses us out. I like this as a time to reflect upon things like communication, technology. You might be doing a little traveling, or there may be some delays or setbacks in travel plans. There could also be some emphasis on changes with respect to siblings, changes in your relationships with siblings, or things that your siblings are going through that you're somehow holding space for or bearing witness to. The other thing would be Mercury retrograde in the third house is a fine time to revise features of the everyday environment, like the technology you use. Maybe you're getting a new cell phone, maybe you're changing vehicles. So the kind of way in which you move about the world in an everyday manner could go through some kind of change. It's also not uncommon for the places that you go to regularly to be going through some kind of change. Like if there's a construction on the road to the coffee shop you go to every morning, just, kind of weird little things like that are actually part of maybe a subtler change of psychic scenery that's taking place. All right, let's move forward to Virgo. When Virgo is rising, the Mercury retrograde will be in the fourth house. You could listen, obviously you could be listening to Virgo for your sun sign as well, but so Virgo in the first means Mercury retrogrades in the fourth. That's the place of home, family, property, living environment, ancestral karma. So a Mercury retrograde in this house allows you to rearrange things in your home, to shift or move things around with respect to your living environment. And for many people, they'll find that that's actually like beneficial. It's time to look at the environment and figure out what about the environment, especially with Mercury and Sag, is enlivening and exciting, and what pieces of the environment maybe feel dead or stagnant or boring. It's important that our living environments not be like hyper stimulating, because you obviously want our home environment to be a place where rest, recuperation, recovery, happiness, creativity are things that we can tap into before we have to go out into the world again, right? That's kind of the meaning of the fourth house, is the roots of the chart and so forth. But we also are looking at the idea of a revision with respect to what the home environment looks and feels like. And in Sag, that might mean that if there's not a kind of lively, buoyant warmth, that you need to find ways of bringing that in, because that is a priority of Mercury and Sag. Mercury and Sag it's like enjoying a lively conversation with friends. And where you're talking about your ideas and thoughts and passions and beliefs, but it's with people who are, easygoing. That's very Mercury and Sag. So thinking about bringing in some of those buoyant, lighthearted, optimistic qualities in the home and family. There's also an opportunity to reflect upon differences of belief or ideas, sort of like an ideological exploration with respect to home, family, and roots that could come up. So let's move along to Leo. For Leos, we see that Mercury is retrograding in the 5th house, the place of creativity, joy, enjoyment in general. You can see this as a time where if you are a creative person, that you're going through a bit of a creative remaking, refining, revising, that you are shifting your approach to something creative. It could also be that that the Mercury retrograde is bringing up things relative to children and pregnancy, which are both part of the 5th house. There's an emphasis on something that's changing with your kids and how they're learning or growing or developing or their schooling. You could also be looking at this as a time where you are some kind of resource that you have that brings you happiness or joy is no longer bringing you happiness or joy, and you have to find something different or new to bring you that kind of benefit or that kind of happiness. It's not uncommon for the 5th house to be related to the most positive assets we have that bring us happiness and joy, either by good karma or through creativity. And so the 5th house retrograde of Mercury might suggest that you're having to look at or reconsider the things that are most essential for your happiness, and kind of maybe a change of philosophy or a change of approach creatively, or when it comes to the daily things that you do or seek for joy or fulfillment. This is also an opportunity in the 5th house to, like if you're the kind of person who is very passionately expressive, you may find that you are having to be a little bit more careful about who you express yourself to or how you express yourself, because you may find that there is some tension between your own creative nature and the social situation that you find yourself in, and that could be a tension that's coming up. There's nothing worse than feeling like creatively prohibited if you're a Leo, but there may be some need to adjust your presentation in terms of how you express yourself as well. So we put Cancer on the ascendant, and Mercury goes into the 6th house. And here I think that there's something really interesting with respect to a kind of maybe a meaningful conflict in communication, or a breakdown in communication, and in a need to reconcile with the fact that someone or something just may not see things the same way that you do. Remember, we're looking at this Mercury retrograde in Jupiter's sign, while Jupiter's opposite in the 12th. This is the house that's associated with conflict. And when Mercury's retrograde in this house, there can be breakdowns or conflicts in communication with other people. You may find that there is just a little bit of a tumultuous energy that you're dealing with mentally, emotionally, in communication dynamics, and that you have to learn how to live with occupying a different world than someone else occupies, and either live with that or learn, or take it as a sign that, two worlds and two people need to separate. That would be one interpretation. The other thing is just about the evolution of your beliefs and ideals, and also what you find, what is worth working on, what is worth being disciplined with, what ideas, practices, habits, hobbies are worth continuing to cultivate and make some sacrifice for, and what work isn't worth it to you. That would be a good thing to reflect on during this process. All right, for Geminis, we have this Mercury retrograde in the 7th, which is the place of relationships. So here we have the opportunity to see some kind of revision or change of circumstance or direction with respect to maybe key relationships in your life. Maybe it's a lover, maybe it's a spouse, but also anyone you have a close interpersonal contact with, and maybe some need to look at differing views or beliefs between yourself and someone else. That's, again, taking into consideration the opposition to Jupiter in your 1st with mutual reception and by detriment. So I look at this as a time of conflicting beliefs and ideals, and maybe the need to find some compromise or middle ground, and also being open to the way in which people and thoughts and things can change, or you can open yourself to new ways of thinking. All of those would stand as real possibilities given this placement. But look at the realm of relationships to be highlighted for this shift of Mercury. All right, so if we keep going, we have Mercury. For Tauruses, Mercury is retrograding in the 8th house, which is a place of karmic debts and obligations. A nice thing about Mercury retrograde in this house is it can be a time in which you're making serious progress with respect to paying off debts or obligations or satisfying conditions of terms and agreements such that old debts can be released and maybe new bonds or relationships or contracts, what have you, can be formed. More advantageous ones can be formed after old responsibilities are let go of. I also like this as a time in which the dynamics and exchanges within relationships can be looked at. You know, is everybody here participating equally, contributing equally? Does the give and take look and feel like it's fair? Also, what can we rely on from other people, and what should we derive only from ourselves? What is the exchange of goods, values, services, ideas, skills, and abilities that we have in our life with other people? Are there enough reciprocal dynamics? Are we getting enough out, given what we're giving back? Are we giving enough based on what we're getting? Those kinds of questions are fundamental to what Tauruses are looking at right now. Also, just facing fears, dealing with anxieties, shifting philosophies, and almost like untangling a mess of wiring that has us believing and thinking things that aren't really helpful or true, and maybe rooted in fear or anxiety that we need to, almost like just clear out. It's like a complicated mess of wires, and in one of those electric panels or whatever, and you've got to like sort it all out so that the channels are flowing cleanly and clearly, and there's a little bit more organization, and you're going, yeah, you know what, it got into such a mess because I have real anxieties and fears and maybe try to control things too much. The 8th house is a place where Mercury can represent fear and worry and the way that it gets the best of us. Finally, Aries rising. Sorry that the first will be last and the last will be first. So for you, the Mercury retrograde's in your 9th house, the place of higher beliefs and ideas, wisdom, philosophy, teaching, learning, traveling. I love this as a time in which unexpected things could transpire if and when you're traveling. Not bad things necessarily, but unexpected things, unexpected developments where you think you're going on a journey for one reason and it turns out to be for something very different. The Mercury retrograde here could also signify just a time to revise, reflect, rethink various philosophical perspectives or ideological or political perspectives. You could also be going through a period of time in which there is some kind of debate happening in your life, or a time of rapid learning, but also of questioning and challenging certain views. I look at this as an opportunity for a shift in paradigm, thought philosophy, with an emphasis on things like learning, teaching, and the ideas that guide your life and how they shape your life, and some reflection or change within them. So those are the major things that I am seeing here for Aries out there. I hope that these horoscopes have been useful. Thank you again, everyone, so much for supporting this channel. After I sign off right now, there's a little video going through the different rewards that are available when you donate and support the channel. We're trying to get to 1,937 backers by the first of the year. We really appreciate your support. Everything that we do is largely dependent upon the success of the Kickstarter every year. And every year, things have gone well thanks to the generosity and support of the audience that values this content every day and pitches in to support its ongoing production in the year ahead. So again, just a big thank you for that. Stick around to hear more about the rewards that are available when you support the channel during this fundraising drive. All right, thank you, everybody. Have a great weekend, and we will see you again soon. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking around. I'm going to tell you about the different rewards that we offer when you donate and support our channel in the year ahead. So you'll find a link to the Kickstarter in the description of this video, in the comments section of this video, as well as on our website, nightlightastrology.com. If you head over there, you'll see at the top of the page there is a menu item that says Kickstarter 2025. You can click on that and be taken over to the Kickstarter campaign page. So once you're there, if you scroll down on the right-hand side, you're going to see different pledge levels and different gifts and sales that we run as a way of saying thank you for your support. So among those, our most popular offering by far are the major discounts that we offer on our training programs. So if you are interested in studying astrology at Nightlight in 2025, whether you're a brand new student or a currently enrolled student who's thinking of taking one of our year 2, 3 horary programs, you're going to find that these are the best rates that we run on the entire year. And we do this as a way of both saying thank you and also of helping us raise funds to support the channel, our staff, and everything we do. So you'll see attend one Nightlight course there. That's about 50% off the total cost of the program and about $500 off the early bird rate. And then you'll scroll down and you'll see that if you bundle 2 courses together, the savings go way up. Bundle 3, they go up even more. I mean, the difference between the 2 and 3 class package is $200. So $200 more, you get 3 of our year-long programs. And if you get all the way to the 4 class pass, then you have all 4 years of our program. You can take them at any pace you like, renew them whenever you like. There's no timeline on when you use these class passes. And you will have all 4 years of content at about 75% off each of the programs individually when you get that bundle. So those are our best savings for sure. Highly recommend those. If you have any questions about our courses or programs, email us info@nightlightastrology.com or look at the website under the classes page, courses page. You'll find information about each of the individual courses we offer. And then if you scroll up, you're going to find some of our other programs that are greatly discounted. Ashley's Herbal Foundations apprenticeship course, which many people are interested in who come through our Moon Circle that Ashley and I lead each month. You scroll up, you're going to find our Masterclass series for 2025, greatly discounted, as well as our Roots and Spheres Moon Circle, greatly discounted. There's hundreds of dollars of savings in each of those. So we really try to make sure that the Kickstarter acts as a good flash sale for all of our programs. You'll then find some really nice prices on previous archive talks, like our 2024 archive masterclass bundle, which is about 30 hours worth of content on specialized topics in astrology. You can see the topics listed in each of the bundles as you scroll through. 2023's masterclass bundle, huge savings on those and a lot of really great content. You'll see a few reading options as you continue to go from the bottom to the top. You'll see the 2025 year ahead mini reading. There's only 30 of these. These are individualized birth chart readings that I do looking at the most significant transit in your birth chart for 2025. I record those personally. You'll then see that there is an Ask 3 Horary Questions option where you can get 3 horary questions to redeem whenever you'd like within the year ahead. Those are kind of yes, no predictive questions. Will I get the job? Will we get together? Things like that. Then you'll see the Astrology for Complete Beginners course is also discounted through the Kickstarter. This is a great 10 hours worth of content for people who are brand new to astrology. So whether that's you or maybe a gift for somebody else. And then you're going to see some individual master classes that are greatly discounted from the past year. So all of 2024's masterclass series are the archives of which 8 to 10 hours each are on sale. And then scroll up a little bit more and you'll see one of our most popular offerings, which are the year ahead horoscope readings. These year ahead horoscope readings include 30 to 45 minutes of a breakdown of all the major transits of the year ahead for each sun and rising signs. You get all of them with this package, which is a great deal. It's like 10 hours worth of content, 8, 9, 10 hours, somewhere in there. I haven't finished recording all of them yet. So as of the time I'm recording this, I'm anticipating it'll land around 10 hours. But yeah, anyway, so you scroll up. You'll see those horoscope videos will all be delivered to you right around January 1st when the Kickstarter ends. Scroll up a little bit more, you'll find The Oracle Speaks, which is my book, and this is being released chapter by chapter. It is a book about the inner experience of learning to speak with oracles, and it is being released chapter by chapter in both text and audiobook form, so you can listen along to my new book. And that takes us up to the Astrology of 2025 video. This, for your donation at the $50 level, gives you an exclusive talk breaking down all of the major astrological transits of 2025. I look in depth at some of the biggest things happening in the year ahead and break them down in advance. And that's the only place I release that video or that take on the whole year ahead. Finally, at the very top, the most basic level of donation, you'll see the Astrology of 2025 calendar. This is a PDF calendar we design and make that allows you to track and move along with the astrology as the year unfolds. This is also great if you want to track what we're going to be talking about week by week on my channel. You'll get a glimpse at the biggest transits of each day and month and week. And that will give you some sense of where we're heading with our coverage of the astrology on the channel as the year unfolds. So again, any questions about any of the rewards that you see, email us info@nightlightastrology. Link is in the description, comments, or on the website, nightlightastrology.com. Help us get to 1,937 backers by January 1st. We deeply appreciate your contribution. We try to make sure we have some really special rewards to say thank you when you contribute. All right, take it easy. Bye.